start. We have Krishna, we have Aakash Mehta, who's our guest. You are probably our biggest guest so far.
He is the biggest guest. We've not had anyone as big as him.
Never a good sign.
No, but do you usually respond to all DMs that you get?
If anybody's been doing a podcast for longer than how many episodes did I tell you?
15 you said.
15.
Then at that moment it was 15, now I've raised it. But anyone who's been doing 20 episodes in or whatever I come. I don't come on anybody's. I get a lot of, this is our first episode, so come to our. I'm like, nahi,
because prove something na first.
Yeah. No, more than that, it's just you want to be on in a running concern, you know what I mean, like a consistent effort. So then, because time is so limited, you want to give time to something that is done by people who are in it properly and are committed to it.
Yeah.
What about in terms of quality? Let's say someone's done some 200 episodes, but then what he's putting out is garbage.
But if he's done 200 episodes, I just want to meet him to know what the fuck, man. How you did 200 episodes or something, dude.
Yeah.
And it's an art to do something consistently and not get better at it. That is hard, dude.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do something. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone do something 200 times and not get better. Have you?
Yeah. But if you're like super trash at it, and then after 200 episodes you're slightly better, you're still trash.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. As long as there's some betterment.
Some improvement.
Yeah. Because it's monkey brain, right? If nothing else, your brain, because it's lazy, will find a way to get good at it so that you don't spend as much time.
You have your own podcast.
Yeah, I have a few.
Yeah. You have anything other than Aakash Mehta and Friends?
There's Aakash Mehta and Friends. We're relaunching Varta Lab, which was me and Naveen Norona. That was my first podcast. So that's us interviewing people and doing stories. And then there's Couch Pundits, which does sports. So I do cricket in Couch Pundits. And then I also come on the F1 stream to be an idiot, mainly.
Oh, are you an F1 fan?
I like it, but I don't understand the hype.
Yeah.
I understand the hype. Okay, let me know. That's not the wrong thing. I think I understand the hype. I just don't... I don't have the bandwidth to seriously follow another sport.
Apart from cricket, you.
Yeah. You can do one. I feel like I need to do justice to it, on some level. If I'm following it, then I'm following it properly. Then I'm watching Kachra match also, and there's no such thing as a Kachra match, you realize pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so, Chote se chota match also you watch, and then you get sucked into this Reddit of the cricket, and then that's the only thing I use Reddit for, is the cricket thing, and I get so sucked in, so then I can't do more. It would be unfaithful of me.
It's like you're cheating on cricket with F1.
No, cricket and I are on open scene, but it would be not nice to F1, because then F1 would be like, but why are you always on your phone? Why are you always texting cricket when we're together?
It's like I'm not even there.
Yeah, and why you become that guy who started putting his phone ulta on the table instead of seedha on the table. So I don't want to answer those difficult questions.
We always shit on F1 because we haven't put in the time to get into it. I haven't watched Drive to Survive. I think that's
गाड़ी ठोकने का रहता है ना.
हाँ.
Sorry, गाड़ी नहीं ठोकने का रहता है और बहुत fast जाने का रहता है. it's a very rudimentary thing. I think just the technology is quite where I get, my mind gets blown, because it's dude, the amount of effort, dude, that they make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I think it's kind of similar to the WWE now, because you care about the drivers and their story.
There's a personality to each.
But that's every sport. That's everything. You only get invested in things when you are invested in the narrative the thing proposes, right? When have you ever watched something that you didn't enjoy the story of or the character of?
But some people are into the sport. Like you said, you'll watch any match, and if you are into football, you'll watch but how do you watch IPL? You can't necessarily. T20 cricket in itself is a lot of fun to watch, but eventually the stories are what add the flair, and that's why cricket is so amazing, dude. 22 stories going on at once, dude. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We discussed this recently.
Yeah.
I said this is one thing that cricket has more than football.
Yeah.
Is that the personal.
Yeah, because it's a team sport, but it's also a one-on-one thing going on, and it's all divided into these micro moments, right? In the sense of just the build-up between the ball, the moment of that ball leaving the bat, and now it's suddenly between the batsman and the fielder.
Yeah.
And now the guy's running, if it's a run-out situation, now again it's a whole different kind of skill set.
It's like personal relationships within each moment of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a narrative within narrative. I remember there was this one, I think Indian sociologist, or maybe he was a historian, but he compared how Indian,
like cricket is so close to Indian mythos, right? And just generally like religion wise in Hinduism, like it's all about like the Gita, or Gita to chalo is one segment, but the Mahabharata, the Ramayana is such a dense thing with so many layers. Every character has a motivation.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like when you hear the story of Shakuni, what you're hearing is like this one unidirectional character who's just evil and cheats at gambling. But like he has a whole backstory. Like he was in jail and his whole family got one grain of rice to eat and all, and then he had to eat all of their rice and he had to watch them die slowly while he ate their rice to survive, you know. So it's a very intense, like real backstory. So that's how cricket is, right? There's a story within a story. There's always a backstory. There's always some narrative context, which I think football, though I don't understand only what the fuck is the big excitement. All these people is use your hands. I hate it. I can't stand it. It's 45 minutes.
I think that's the appeal, na, ki you're doing complex stuff like that with your feet.
With your feet.
But like, I mean,
Why would you?
I don't know, man. I just find it kind of like, I don't know, man. I can't do it. एक तो यार वो बहन जो घास पे भाग रहे एक सेकंड. Okay. If they were running on their hands, I would be like, oh, it's a switcheroo. I'm invested. But like, it's just like, I don't know. I don't understand.
Yeah. So I even like you, all of us have grown up playing it. So like we enjoy playing the game.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. Like, but for me also, I follow a club and all, but I find it cringe when I see someone defending like an English club.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's not even that. No. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing against the whole EPL fan culture. None of that shit. Football is annoying.
Yeah.
The act of fucking what, 11 on 11, right? 22 people fucking running at each other. Nobody's even punching and just do something exciting. No,
Hey, people punch each other sometimes. That African Cup of
very
Nations,
rare.
There were
rare.
like 5 red cards per game.
You need
People
to
were
watch.
losing it.
There's this tournament every year. It's called the African Cup of Nations.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
So
it
it's
gets
all
aggro.
African countries playing against each other. And that's like the T20 of football, I think.
Right.
Like kuch bhi hota hai usme, bro. Like people run on the pitch.
Suddenly there's a brawl starting. it's nuts.
Yeah, see, that's more exciting because I just feel like यार कितना डम है ये यार, ये लोग नहीं हो, और the worst part is उससे होता भी नहीं है यार. वो लोग एक पौना घंटा लगाते हैं बेंचों पे एक गोल मारते हैं यार. क्या कर रहे हो यार? I need more. I need more out of my time. That's all. And I understand. I like playing it. Like I feel like death after I play it every time because of the cardio it takes. And I'll play it also. I don't mind playing I'll play any sport, dude. But just the watching, I cannot do the watching. Do not make me. I'll watch World Cup because there's stakes. Like you see German people finally being proud about Germany.
Yeah.
Like for 2 minutes, you know, like every 4 years. the national anthem, fucking everyone is crying. Everyone is crying because they're like, इतना सारा patriotism में अंदर दबा के बैठा है. What a weird repression to have, no?
Yeah.
Like patriotism को repress करके बैठे हो लोग.
You imagine, bro, living in a country where you're like a little ashamed of. But I mean, I get that. I'm from Iran originally.
Right.
So, like, that is so.
Ashamed of your patriotism?
Not
Ashamed of where you come from? Or ashamed what's
so
happening
now
over there?
every conversation that I have with anyone, and as soon as I say I'm from Iran, it's not a positive, like, you don't see a good look on their face.
They're not like, oh wow, Iran.
They'll be like, oh, okay. Iran.
But do you think that's general Islamophobia or that's a specific extra Iranophobia?
No, when you say you're from the UAE, you don't get that.
Hmm.
And that's a Muslim country.
I feel like it's also the image that you
Qatar.
get from, you know, news. and
Media, yeah. So
and-
Iran, the thing is the media perception of it, the way it's been covered, it's been like Iran is the devil.
Right.
And I get that also to some extent because the regime is like...
The devil?
Not the best. It's like any other regime, bro. Like it's...
I agree with that, you know. Like I'm completely on board with you when you say ki like her government, because everybody pretends like, oh, these people are genocide. Everyone's genocide. They've all every major government that's lasted for more than a term in this country has been involved in killing lots of people.
Yeah.
So
That's the key. That's the key to running a successful government, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then...
I forgot, is this a comedy podcast or is this just a podcast?
could be anything.
It's whatever you want it to be, but we're very always inclined to have conversations that make people feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
So,
Nah, we don't
genocide and all is right up our back alley.
Yeah. So in this, like, usually when we do an episode where it's me, him, and this other friend, that turns into like I've known them for 10 years,
Yeah.
so everyone knows everything,
Yeah.
and that turns into like a shit fest.
Yeah, always. Whenever you get friends together, it's never good.
Yeah. So we try to censor it as less as we can.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I only say something like right after I said, I was like,
Yeah.
We don't know. Because when that line gets crossed, we only know in the moment.
Yeah, but with the guest, you have to be more careful. Actually, I feel unnecessarily stressed out nowadays. Like, I don't think I should be, but I am. Like, every time I do something, I'm like, fuck, man. If I get caught, like, they'll be like, oh, fucking comedian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it'll be like one of those, comedian Aakash Mehta was caught, you know, whatever the fuck, drinking and driving. I don't even drink and drive, but like, if I did, I would be very afraid. Like, I would, and whenever I see a comic doing something stupid, I'm way more like, uncle-ish about it now, where I'm like, hey, tu pure samaj ka naam bigad dega. Like, don't
Ruining our reputation.
Yeah, don't fuck this up for all of us. Like, don't get caught with doing something stupid.
Do you feel like in Pune there is this term, I don't know if you guys use it in Bombay, it's called senior comic.
Yeah, they do it everywhere.
Do you get that?
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Very stupid.
I feel like that's not a compliment because like here we have senior comics. Okay, and when you say senior, like there should be something different like from an open micer.
Yeah.
But then like you don't see it, and then I feel like that person also feels bad when you call them a senior comic.
But comedy is like that, right? Like it's like you could have been doing it for 8 years, you could have been doing it for a decade, you could have been doing it for 2 months, and like the success and the skill have very little in common. Like you know what I mean? Like because at the end of the day, it's on some level it's art, right? So like if people are connecting to it, they're connected. What the fuck are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be great to be good, is what I'm trying to say. Like so.
There's so many other factors. Like we've been doing stand-up for a while now, and like not as long as, not very long, but we've got to interact with a lot of people who've been doing it for years and years and years. And when we watch them, we're enjoying everything they're doing. But then they're still not big. They haven't gotten to a point where.
But that though happens everywhere. Bro. I'm sure there are comics who like murder every time, but like it's just they're not big.
There's no correlation only.
Yeah.
You're like, it's this myth, right? Like you get really good at something and then you get recognized. Who's recognizing you?
Yeah.
Who? Man, cho ticket to becho. तो कोई आएगा ना recognize तो वही तो नहीं हो रहा ना. So it's a very weird feedback loop of sorts where you know video के लिए audience के लिए video चाहिए, and then you're just in that fucking loop.
Do you feel like that correlates with a skill of a comic, being able to sell tickets? Do you feel like you'd gauge that if you wanted to?
No, I think I wouldn't do that at all. I think there are comedians who are way funnier than I am who don't sell as many tickets as I do. Purely because they probably didn't take the same route that I did or were not able to kind of avail of the same opportunities that I was at that stage in my life. Like I was very lucky I started doing this at 18. So I had most of my childhood basically, or a fucking kid dude till 22, 23, whatever. So I had that free time where society or my parents or family, nobody really had any expectations in terms of, they already knew कि ये क्या घंटा comedy सब कुछ करेगा. But they were also of the opinion कि like, oh, you can fuck up, you know. So that freedom in itself is huge. I had no financial responsibility, more or less. For most of the time that I've been doing comedy, I've not had to worry about giving any money home. So that's another add-on which is great. So you know, I mean, what worked for me was definitely like, I mean, I had viral-ish videos in 2018. Was it 18? 17. That doesn't even count, I think. You know, I don't think I could capitalize on that at all. So, you know, my whole ticket selling route has been go to places when you can barely sell tickets there. And do great bits, tighten everything to the point where it's as good as it can get. And just like fucking keep writing and keep doing more shows. And every time you go and you really crush, next time few more people are gonna come.
Yeah.
You know? And that's, मैं उसी का खेल खेल रहा है. मैं I have like 6-7 different hours. Fucking take them, keep looping them.
It's crazy, dude. 8 hours of fucking content. We were just...
So you're talking to like two open micers, okay? So for me at least, this is a problem to even have something to like talk about. I used to do like my first 5 minutes were just me. Oh, I'm from Iran. This is what Iran is like. This is what India is like. But then I was like, at the end of the day, like who cares about?
I mean, that's your job to
Make
kind
them
of
care.
make them care. Yeah, of course. Why should they care is the question you're trying to answer.
Right?
But I
But that's a
don't-
great set though. If you were on stage, if I was watching you at an open mic and you were like, hey, I'm from Iran and Iran is different from India,
Yeah.
but like, why the fuck do you care? You're in Pune.
Yeah.
You know, and I would be like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, I'll tell you why. And I'd be like, fucking tell me why to care. I'm in now. You
He's
know?
tightened your set already dude, in 10 seconds.
No, but I've gotten that before also. So at open mics, like usually you're seeing the same people do especially in Pune. So like when you are at an open mic, after the first two guys, you're not listening only.
Yeah.
You're thinking about your set or
Unless a big laugh comes, then
Yeah,
suddenly
and
you're
then
like,
you're like,
oh,
what
kuch
happened? But then comics here have told me like as soon as you go on stage and you say you're from Iran, it's like, oh, let me see what he has to say, because this is something that I'll never hear from any other
Exactly.
comic.
It's great.
Yeah.
I think the whole like again, it's like a weird feedback loop. Like you have to learn to write the jokes. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
But that's the only hard part.
Yeah. But with
know?
you, I've noticed, like, I don't know if that's a conscious effort, but you seem like you're just talking. Like, I don't know.
But I am just talking.
So, do you write before or
You
like
don't write
you're
it
writing
down.
on
No,
stage?
You don't write it down.
Maybe just a premise or something, like in the back of
If
your
I-
head, you know, okay, I have to touch on this subject. and
Like
then-
if I were to go through my notes right now, I would doubt. I mean, every now and then you'll find like a compilation, but other than that, I highly doubt it. I have more rap demo verses than can't remember verses when I write them, so I have to write them. But
Are you into rap?
yeah, I'm working on an EP.
Oh wow, we listened to your album.
No, what did you think?
We
Did you
checked
like it?
Well, I mean, I'll speak for my. I'm not very much into the genre, but then it seemed like I'm always.
What do you listen to?
I'm into rock and reggae and maybe that side of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always fascinating to see like an artist like, you know,
Do different
do
things.
different things. It's like, but not when it goes to some crazy like Bollywood extent, fucking Farhan Akhtar types. Just you can't be good at everything, dude.
No, I mean,
Singer, producer, actor.
you can if you have a
I
little
mean,
help.
yeah,
along
but
the
then
way.
you just get, I don't know, I just get damn annoyed. I'm like, अरे यार, you can't. सब में अच्छा मतलब.
But yeah, I couldn't find any premises, dude. Like in the last few months, I have not written anything now. I think now I kind of have this whole. Now I think of like, okay, what's the next show? So then it's like a whole.
Okay.
Then you're just thinking of very different lines than when you're thinking of jokes. Like I'll find a lot of stuff funny, like in my head all through the, and I'll tell somebody around me like, isn't that? And then they won't react. I'm not even looking for a reaction. I'm just looking to say it out loud once so I can hear myself
Yeah.
say it, and then it's in my head.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's and I'm every free second is spent working on some punchline, some tag. It's an obsession, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, I love it because it's like a puzzle, like, you know. Like I was talking about this to Sumit Anand in Delhi once. He said it's so magical because it's like a puzzle. Like you solve at your own pace, dude, and you only have to show it when it's done. You know what I mean? Like you only put it on YouTube or you on a special or whatever the fuck when it's ready. Like nobody knows how long it took. Like it could take you 10 minutes, it could take you 6 years. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You have like, when you say you have like 7 to 8 hours, and you haven't written any of it now? Or
No, but I have audio tapes, na. I have
Okay.
countless audio tapes of me performing it everywhere. So that's what it becomes the, you know.
Yeah. But like when you're on stage and you're doing an hour, you do the first joke, then does it become this thing? It's like, okay, I did this one, so now I know the next one is. You are not thinking like 2 jokes or 3 jokes ahead.
But that's what now you're thinking of it like from the point of view of I have 6 jokes and each joke is 10 minutes long and that's my hour. It's not that. Like if I'm doing, like today I'm doing Nasty in Pune.
Yeah.
Nasty is about sex. Like it's about the idea of sex and why it's profane. Like and it's a kind of a catch on from Clean. So the first one is Clean, Nasty, then Dark, then Wrong, right? So Clean starts off with the idea of the sacred and the profane. Ki like what is a clean comic? Can I be a clean comic? Do I want to be a clean comic? Do we need clean comedy? Like you know, and where and what are the stakes? You know, like as you go larger, you have to get cleaner. Is the rule of thumb, right?
Correct.
Like the more people you influence, the more you
Yeah.
have to be careful of what you say,
Yeah.
so that you don't upset the people. But the whole idea was to say, so you know, you're kind of in this thought experiment. So Clean goes on to Nasty, Nasty ka Dark hota hai. Dark is just like a hijack. So my twin brother Prakash and I do Dark together. So I open for him, he does the rest of the show. And that show is just about like dealing with failure and death. And also some occasional other. And it's a good show, it's a fun show. And then Wrong is basically just a summation in the sense ki we saw all these different perspectives. Now let's get down to brass tacks and say ki, now that we understand that things are really kind of wavy, anything can be anything.
Yeah.
So let's really get into it and defend all the bad ideas that seem to be floating around.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let's just have at it and see how we can we make sense of this. Is sexism bad? Is Akhand Bharat is a great idea?
Yeah.
All of these different
hot takes.
Not so much hot takes. It's a proper exploration of the
Take.
Yeah, ki like if Me Too happened, let's it's a spiritual breakdown. It's not so much of a let's count how many people actually went to jail. There's no point. There were other implications socially and culturally that didn't get talked about only because everyone was too afraid to get shot down. So it's that. So then now, if it's that, then what joke? क्या joke? Joke है ही नहीं. जोक तो इसलिए क्योंकि वो कॉमेडी शो है, वरना कोई जरूरत नहीं है जोक का उसमें.
Do you feel like the crowd pulling back when you do these jokes?
No, that's the whole.
They're there for that.
No, I mean it's a process. Obviously, if they're pulling back, it's because I want them to.
That's what I was getting at. I was like, so when they pull back at a certain point, you're like, chal, now this is done. Now let's lay something on them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always creating tension and releasing tension, right?
Yeah.
So comedy is basically just two things, right? Like you build a notion and then you break the notion. You're basically creating incongruency. That's all it is. It's like magic, but with words. So,
but that's what good comedy is, because not all comedy is like that.
I mean, it's the fundamental. I mean, if something makes you chuckle, if something makes anyone chuckle, it's comedy, right?
Yeah.
So, like video of boy on skateboard getting hit in the nuts is always. How can you not?
Yeah.
It's gold. Like it'll always be funny.
Yeah.
Because even though you know it's coming, you kind of you don't want it to come, but you kind of want it to come, and then it happens, and then you're like, oh, and it's a feeling. So who's to say what's it's a very fizul ka conversation only. क्या अच्छा joke, क्या खराब joke.
हंसा तो अच्छा है, नहीं हंसा तो.
और अगर क्राफ्ट में तुम कुछ और डाल रहे हो उसके अंदर तो वो तुम्हारा है ना स्ट्रेस. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't expect anyone to be interested in the shit I am working on in my set. Like I am working on kinks and chunks that are not visible only to you anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's more internal and small shit now.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't see the point. Like, and it's the worst, dude. Like comedians will sit and but this how can this bad joke be
do so well?
Yeah, it's a great question, but I wish it wasn't loaded with your hatred for the comic. I want to get to the bottom of this with you, but not on these terms.
Yeah.
There is that jealousy factor. It does creep in.
That's so in every industry, bro. Yesterday only we were discussing. He was like, first you said I don't get it.
Yeah.
How like friends can get. I was like, bro, now we're both doing open mics, and suddenly you put out this video and you blow up. And you're selling tickets everywhere, and after 3 years, I'm still doing the same open mics that we used to do together.
Oh, chubega, lekin fir bhi like
I mean, I've seen so many people go past me. I've stopped caring now.
Yeah.
Like it's been there from the beginning. It'll always be there. Like the newer thing is always gonna get this thing. But over the years, what you'll realize, irrespective of where you land up on the hierarchy, you will find people who you will connect with. Like you will be more famous, less famous, doesn't matter. You will end up hanging out, chilling, and usme bhi it's nice to always remember it's a professional relationship. Like some people are your friends and then they are friends first and then your comedian buddies later, but most people will be comics first.
Yeah.
So it's nice to it's just a nice way to shield yourself from random unnecessary trauma that the comedy scene can give you.
Yeah.
Because we're all assholes.
Yeah. But then it's, bro, especially in India, though, like the comedy scene isn't that, like there aren't like 1,000 comics. How many Indian comics are there?
1000 तो हो गए होंगे अभी तक.
But like people you see often, it's a few, no?
It's a smaller.
But I mean,
so
because the thing is now, it's also like the Indian stand-up scene is just like a sliver of an art form, right? Like comedy is such a wide, there are a bunch of funny people everywhere doing stand-up in some way, form or the other. Like it might not be the thing we do, but like, Punjab TV पे तुम देखो या फिर कोई भी regional channel पे तुम देखो, you will see all these random comedy shows with people coming and doing bits.
They have their own superstars. Like each state has their own.
So then
So happens the country is only so huge. There's so many people.
It's a subcontinent, dude.
Yeah.
We keep forgetting. You know, it's like it's really big. Today I was there's a group for the habitat thing, you know, for dates and all. So Balraj was telling us ki now, you know, it feels like there may be a surge in April with the cases. So just, you know, and he was telling us like it's just the populations, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like Korea ka population kuch 11 crore log hai.
Yeah.
Mumbai has more people, dude. Like, you understand, like the scale which we're talking about, like, and that's why I feel like even like if I put out a video right now at least this 1 year, my whole game is I just want to put out stuff that makes me happy. So if that is getting say 200k views and it's not a viral video by any means, but 2 lakh मैं कब बेचूं 2 लाख टिकट बता? मैं बेच ही नहीं पाएगा 2 लाख टिकट एक साल में. So I think it's more about how many tickets you are moving, at least for me, because that's a major chunk of my income.
Revenue,
And then, you know, things, as you become more popular, it becomes more of the branded stuff and this and that. By the way, if he gets really viral and you don't, that's where you cash in on your friendship.
Yeah.
You write his viral stuff for him.
Yeah.
You write his brand deals and shit.
Yeah, that's what I told. And I said, whichever one of us blows up, like the other's gonna be the opener.
For sure.
Like you're gonna be touring with me anyway.
Yeah, that's perfect, dude.
Yeah.
That's totally awesome.
So it's such a nice holistic way of looking at things. No, अरे मेरा भाई है, he's been there for so long. आजा अभी तू spot ले मेरा start.
Yeah.
हाँ, but nepotism तो है ही comedy में, कौन ना बोला? ये तो Bollywood कर रहे हैं, पागल है? Yeah, I mean, I तो genuinely feel like, I mean, it's one of those things, na, like where nepotism, if it's your kids, I get it, but like if it's your friends, I don't think that's nepotism. That's just like you made relationships along the way and the relationships are taking a professional turn. So I think that's completely. Yeah, I get my friends to open for me all the fucking time, dude. I don't care.
Yeah.
मैं इतना टिकट बेचूं.
Why shouldn't you get to decide?
मुझे देखने देना, मेरा दोस्त आएगा, मैं उसको मिलेगा, बोलेगा हाय कैसा है. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो बॉम्ब करके जा रहा है, और बॉम्ब करेगा तो भी मैं उसकी गांड मारूंगा, ऐसा नहीं है.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you. I was doing some research before this, and there is this web page where they've written your profile.
That fucking fake shit. Yeah.
Is it fake?
Some of it is definitely fake.
It says that you started comedy because some girl told you that you were funny.
That part is true. She wanted me to do the event there. It was a comedy festival, a comedy event at the college festival.
Okay, and you have done nothing before that, like?
No, nothing. But I'd watched a lot of stand-up before, which in itself was, I guess,
training.
I mean, some idea of what to do. You know?
Yeah.
I watched a lot of Comedy Central presents as a kid.
Saturday Night Live and things like that.
No. Just Comedy Central presents. Like it's a half-an-hour stand-up specials, alag comics. And I must have watched 11 seasons when I was growing up. Like I was just like this little bachu who used to get off on like the worst fucking nasty jokes.
Yeah.
But I mean, still like censored obviously because it's TV.
Yeah.
But like I was like, wow, a lot of these jokes are not for my age. I knew even then.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually helps a lot, bro. Like watching a lot of stand-up, I feel like it gives you something.
Like now I can't. Like now I can barely watch stand-up. Like I get very tired. I've made it a rule now to watch newer comics every time I see a video that I like or whatever, like, or something that a funny friend shares, I watch that.
Yeah.
That's the most I can do. I can't watch more.
Bro, I don't even watch memes. Like if someone sends me a reel and I get a notification, this person has sent it. If I think they're funny, I'll open it.
Yeah.
I'll be like, chal, it's worth giving it.
As with
time.
most recommendations, like you trust people who...
Certain people won't.
You know, it's so interesting when you start having fans, you have a very different idea of what they're going to be like. Right? Like you're imagining like this cooler version of yourself. You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh fuck, you are nothing like me. You know? And then over a period of time, you just, it's like, it becomes like a humbling experience where it's like, oh wow, people are very different from each other.
Yeah.
and this is still a great way for them to connect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a very nice feeling. Anyway, क्या चल रहा है? I can go on for hours. See, this is why I said 15-20 episode कर लो. तो फिर
Yeah. Arey, so this is also one more thing. We were discussing this ki like when you get someone on and speak about comedy, like I can sit here and speak for 5 hours, 6 hours with you and have the time of my life. But like the person who's watching it, how much do they
care
I don't
about?
think they give a fuck.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
don't.
but it's like that's the thing with documentation, right? Like it's like when did you guys see Genius on Netflix?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Oh man, yeah. So
Kanye.
I mean, you know, Cody he hit it big, dude. Like
Yeah.
he filmed the right person at the right time. That's
Yeah.
really what most people do, I think. That's the long-term vision game of comics.
Yeah.
Talking
That's
about
crazy to identify that personality then and be like, हाँ ये चमकेगा, we'll fucking start recording.
That's why you do lots of episodes, right?
Yeah. No. That what he's saying is like, I when I post an episode, I hope ki like in a year when the audience is bigger, like new audiences coming, they're gonna go to this.
Yeah, it's one of the things that along the way, the stop along, like people they'll find out about me through whatever, right? Like through YouTube video or some shit. And then they'll be like, oh, there's a lot of videos. Like they'll be like, oh, there's over an hour or two of this shit. And then they'll be like, oh, there's also this other channel. Oh, there's this podcast. Oh, and then there's that. And then there's... So it's like my whole objective with this is also to leave like a proper, like, you know what I
Thing
mean?
behind.
Yeah,
Legacy.
like a library of things, not just like a thing that I made once.
Yeah.
So wo like pursuit is very... And right now is the best time in history to do that, right? Because...
Everything's digital and
easier.
Easy. Yeah. Like this episode, I can post it tomorrow if I want to.
yeah.
We sat down, we spoke for an hour. But with that comics, talking about comedy, one thing that kind of annoys me, I want to see what you feel about it. Like when comics are like promoting a show.
Yeah.
Like the fan doesn't need to know that you're doing an hour, like I'm doing this hour. Not the name of the hour, but like talking about things or doing these jokes for the first time. Like people don't need to know that. They need to
Yeah, they
know.
do.
Do they
Sets
need?
expectations. If it's a trial show, you tell them it's a trial show.
Trial show though I get, but like there are comics who like get in too deep about what they're doing. I was like,
How? I've not even noticed this. How is this annoying you?
not annoying me. I'm like, if you're trying to sell tickets,
Yeah.
like you have to. People should think, oh, this guy's funny and he's doing a show near me. I'll go watch it.
Like you're saying it shouldn't matter what they're doing.
He
That
said-
too
I
on
think-
stage we'll see now once you've
Yeah.
gone for the show.
But I think it's just that it's like the same as wanting to know what a movie's about when you go to watch a movie. Like that's why I also went with easy names for my shows. Like if I do nasty or dark, it's very easy to sell tickets.
Yeah.
Wedding show, even easier to do tickets. My dirty stands and other stories, not an easy show to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's just one of those things. करने दे यार बेचारा टिकट बेचे बहुत है यार.
Yeah.
You've done a nasty set at a wedding?
Yeah. Yeah.
How is that? How is
What the hell?
Cocktail.
Like a Sangeet party type
Yeah.
situation.
Cousins.
But still, like, would you, the like auntie uncle coming?
Bro,
to
the wedding
nasty
is
set.
Mummy Papa come in the beginning. They do Tata.
Yeah.
Then it's the rule is bride's friends, groom's friends, bride's cousins, groom's cousins.
Correct.
And दोनों साइड के younger uncles and aunts, like cool uncle aunt, जो secretly बच्चों के साथ cigarette पीते हैं, वो वाला. तो वो ऐसे वो लोग रहते हैं तो फिर बहुत सही शो जा सकता है कभी-कभी.
Oh, wedding as a concept is celebrating sex, like indirectly. So
Yeah,
like
it's
if
pretty
you're
nasty
doing a sex,
on its own.
yeah, so people come with certain expectations. And bro, weddings nowadays, like depends on what wedding you're going to. Like 2 years ago, we went to one wedding. At the start, it's all uncle aunties dancing. After 12, there are people on ecstasy, like dancing over there. So like,
But I mean, that's the who knows, maybe the uncle auntie are also doing ecstasy.
who knows?
Yeah.
Wedding में तो
Why
सब
do you
चलता है
think
bro.
about
Like,
it? I didn't even recollect this wedding. Now I'm remembering everything.
yeah, I think it
Maybe he
depends.
was the one dancing on the ecstasy.
No man, I wish I wasn't.
Bro, rich
Hard
weddings
drugs
are
are
to something else, like rich weddings.
Yeah. That's what the wedding show is about. It's
About rich
Yeah, I
weddings.
went to a what's it called? Destination wedding.
Yeah.
For somebody. Wow.
Where?
Show देखना.
Okay, cool. We'll plug it.
But yeah, it's like a fun show, and that's one of the prouder shows. Because that show, like, that's a great example of how I write now. Because that was written in an afternoon. Like, I just sat down and went, okay, so I want to write a show about this thing that happened to me. What are old bits that are decommissioned or on the shelf that I could never get right or that I just stopped doing?
Yeah.
I didn't fit in any other special. चलो सब दिखा लो, निकालो, दिमाग खोलो, पुराने सेट सुनो, सब compile किया. And the skeleton of the story was there. That's the story I was telling. Anyway,
Yeah.
बस हो गया सर, क्या चाहिए?
So you wrote an hour in an afternoon. Or you compiled an hour.
I would have must have. Man, I don't think I wrote it till I did it on stage. It's like when I did it on stage, I realized, okay, so then this is it.
That's
and
crazy.
then as you do it, you start finding out. Oh, you're like, oh, I can do this also here. I can do this also here. I can call this character back. I can do that with that.
Do you still do open mics or you do shows only and then work material out?
Oof, open mic is difficult, yaar. So the thing is, if it's an open mic, it's because I'm working on a very specific problem that I have with a very specific joke, which rarely happens now. So now it's a lot of trial hours. But the one place where mic helps is there's this golden time when I'll do a lot of mics, which is when the joke is in the hour is doing okay, but I need to cross check now. Like, does this work on its own, basically? Because a lot of times what happens is you write a joke and it's doing okay, but then what happens is the joke doesn't get better, the joke before it gets better. So the momentum has changed, which makes you feel ki, oh, this joke is doing so much, but it's not. It's a fucking shit joke only. So until and unless you take it to the mic to do that cross-checking,
You won't know.
yeah. So now there's a second problem that happens. You have to do it out of context. You have written a fucking hour that is about some fucking Greek philosophy. And now, you have to all of a sudden talk about this one character out of fucking context. So then what happens is you end up writing a new in to the bit and a new out to the bit. Right? You'll need an in. Somehow you can't just be like, oh, to, Aristophanes ko soja ho gaya tha. You can't just... It's very awkward for everybody involved. So now how do you do? So then you write a new in. Now the fucking joke works, but sometimes it only works because the in is good. Not because the joke is good. So now you're even stuck even deeper. So there's only that one time where open mics really help now, because I'm not thinking as a joke. It's more, jokes are more to service the storytelling or the general narrative of what I'm trying to say.
You see this, like, the audience who goes to watch shows, like, they don't know about...
Why do they need to know? Do you know how your mobile phone works?
Still, I'm saying ki for an outsider, stand-up is like a person is talking
Just
on
standing
stage.
and saying
And he's this funny person who's talking on stage.
Yeah. It's okay.
But that's all
I'm
they
happy
need to know, right? Why should they
Yeah.
understand?
No, it's very funny to me that this is like the comics is imploding on this stage.
No, but it's like also that... it's also like if somebody was interested, I'm sure they would ask me, and a lot of people ask me very specific technical stuff about stand-up every now and then, and I'm very happy to respond. But most people don't, and there's a reason, because like it's not like I'm messaging my friends and going, तो तुम ये क्या करते हो coding में 0-1 क्या रहता है वो? Because what the fuck is he gonna explain, dude? Why should I put someone else through that?
Yeah.
It's like when my future in-laws will ask me some stuff about whatever the hell I'm doing in my job. I will try to condense it down to the simplest version of what I can do, right? Like, it's like, especially, in-laws though are still young people in some sense, but like grand uncles or grandparents of anybody, तू क्या करता है? मैं कपिल शर्मा के लिए लिखता हूँ. It's simple. It comes out in one sentence and they're like, oh wow. I'm like, oh yeah, and it's over. And then I used to lie about this so much to old people. And then I wrote the Kapil ka special. I was one of the additional writers. So it just manifested. But it manifested.
How was that experience?
It's good, dude.
Is he a nice guy?
Yeah. Def nice guy. Chill guy. Very funny guy. But it's like you work with someone in a professional capacity, right? So like you don't know them as a person.
Right.
Like you know them as the professional.
Yeah.
Which is fine only. But like very high stakes life. You know what I mean? Like paparazzi and news and...
Yeah, he's a celebrity.
Yeah, he's just like a proper... So very different stakes, very different approach to stand up.
But how... Can you like say how much of it was him and how much of it was...
Dude, it's honestly... It's a weird thing to get into because it's not... It doesn't work like that. It's not like... how can I write a joke about his life? Like only he can write the joke about his...
Yeah.
So like... Yes, there's on one hand the joke writing stuff, which is more of like, we need a joke here, we need a thought here to bridge this gap. That's more, but it's more a structurally, is this the right first joke? Is this where it should go? And obviously 7,000 people need to be,
entertained by it.
Yeah, and entertained. They have to be, fucking everyone has an opinion and obviously the OTT has here's the thing, there's so much money involved in all this that obviously people involved are finicky, right? तुम कितना करोड़ों रुपए गए होंगे यार ये बनाने में. यार हम लोग गए थे शूट पे एम्बी वैली में 2 दिन कंटिन्यूअसली तुम 400 लोग बस भर के लेके आए हो कोविड प्रोटोकॉल के साथ. दैट्स एन एक्सपेंसिव.
That's just the crew.
No, that's the audience.
Oh.
Crew अलग.
So the audience was like, what they were showing was like his family or like.
Yeah, but नहीं वो तो आगे ही थे ना, वो तो सेकंड शो में आए थे.
So
बाकी तो इतने सारे लोग आए थे.
What is that, like only VIP? How did the
No,
there were tickets sold for
COVID,
it.
no, it's COVID protocols, man. You have to screen people, you have to get them RT-PCR, you have to get them into a
capsule to bring
yeah, like you have to put them in that what's it called?
Bubble.
Isolation, yeah, bubble and all, and then you it's an exhausting thing. So when it's this much at stake, anybody involved is going to be on their toes in terms of ये क्या है, ये क्यों है, ये नहीं, ये ऐसा करो, वो ऐसा करो. So by the end of it, it becomes like a khichdi of all of those intentions. You know what I mean? Hopefully, like I feel like, not that I'm dissing the experience. It was a fucking great experience, dude. Like you go from writing my kind of stand-up to writing Kapil's kind of stand-up. It's a mind-blowing like gear shift in your brain. And they all spoke in Punjabi. Khamba was writing this with me, right? And he's the one who got me on. Now, सब पंजाबी है यार. तो पूरा मीटिंग पंजाबी में हो रहा है. मैं पंजाबी नहीं है, okay, just to clarify this to you. So like it's just like a whole different gear, dude. Like it's and the jokes you're going for, and the thing is, it's not like, that's why like the whole idea of this is a bad joke, this is a good joke goes out of the window, because when you see a joke working, dude, it's like oof, it's magic, dude. So that's the Kapil was great, dude. Hopefully like down the road, like I'm currently trying to be a creative director on a couple of other stand-up specials. If that works out, I think there'll be a lot of exciting stuff, because I feel like there I'll maybe have more sort of creative wise कैसे जाना चाहिए, क्या करना चाहिए. Plus I'm sort of interested in getting involved with the special the special much earlier, like at a more rudimentary, at a thought level, or maybe अभी just लिख के पहले tour पे जा रहे try करने के लिए level. So then I can sort of...
Is that what excites you more than just stand-up right now? Because you've been doing it for so long.
No, I wouldn't say it's not more, but definitely like...
As much?
It makes my I lip smack when I hear the prospect of working on someone else. I just love it, dude. Like I love stand-up, dude. So I feel like I have to do other shit to make money anyway. So then if this is an option, oh man, please get me to write your special. Whoever you are.
Who are these people who like? These are potential things, that projects that you can start. But are they upcoming comics, or like what is the demographic?
Kind of. I can't.
You can't mention.
I can't yet because I'm also pitching for it. I'm like, please, मुझे ले लो, मैं अच्छा हूँ.
But when you say writing a special, what does that like? You'll give structure to their jokes, or?
No. Writing, so I will write, dude. I'll write as a fucking writer, like how Wanda Sykes used to write for Chris Rock. I'll write for anybody.
And they'll just go perform it.
Yeah, I mean, it never works like that. It's always like a tag here and a thought here and a bouncing board there, and it's like a whole process.
Yeah.
You must write stand-up with each other, right?
Not really, but then that I realized pretty early on that at that open mic only, once you say something, a comic will come and he's like, you can try this tag.
Yeah.
And you do that, it works. You're not leaving that behind, bro, saying, it wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
If it's working, it's working. And then later, while listening to podcasts and all, I realized that most comics have like, there will be someone who will help them. Or
correct.
It's very difficult to ask for help in terms of, like, I can't be like, hey man, I'm working on this special right now called Fear, which is like about my fears. It's a very simple title.
Yeah.
And it's about all the things I'm afraid of, basically. And I've been trying to make the list. And it's very scary to make the list also. So I'm afraid of lists. There's too much pressure, man. It's always I have to get it. No, but it's just like, I don't know how to even go to a comic friend and be like, hey bro, ye show kaise like, you can't, right? Like, so it's more of, I'll invite people to watch it when it's in the trial.
Correct.
And I'll be like, just shit on it for an hour if you can. And whatever you find, just tell me. Like the smallest tag, the inflection, the facial thing is not right, the body language here was bad. Whatever you notice. So I try to get... So don't get
fucking once I asked Saurav Ghosh to watch the show, I'm like कैसा लगा? He's like बढ़िया था. ऐसे अबे कुछ तो और बोल रहे नहीं यार ये तो बहुत सही स्पेशल है. अभी तो और करेगा तो और अच्छा हो जाएगा. I'm like हाँ पता है वो तो मुझे like.
But do you feel like there's always room for improvement, no matter like what? So let's say if someone says, it's a killer show, you're still expecting some feedback from him?
I mean, okay, killer hai, but what? What is good? What do you like about it? Tell me that. Like, give me some
more insight.
Yeah, so I understand what's working. That's what obviously, you don't always need negative feedback.
Yeah.
Sometimes positive is nice, and it's more to understand, like, to your mind's eye, what worked well. Like that's what I want to know, right? Because I know what worked well in the sense that everyone laughed hard, but to you, what stayed with you after a show is not what necessarily what you laughed hardest at.
Yeah.
So that's really what I'm kind of trying to find out.
Yeah.
But I'm just obsessed with this. Like I feel like I'm an anomaly in that sense because I just really like this and I don't really know how to do anything else.
Yeah.
So I just keep doing this.
When do you think you'll like post a special, like put it out? Do you want to, like, if you have 8 hours, do you not feel like putting one on YouTube, just like saying fuck it and see where it goes?
Already put out over an hour of material.
Yeah, last year though, like when you were celebrating 10 years, so there was like videos.
Yeah, and I put out half an hour ka Icarus I put out half an hour long. Animals was 20 minutes long. So I feel like lengthwise, I'm not really, if anything, I should be putting out smaller videos because 8 minutes and 10 minute ke beech mein video does better.
Yeah. Or bro, like now though, they are doing 2 minutes, 3 minutes also.
Reels, bro.
Reels, yeah.
So, so I mean, I have a, like, Life Right Now is a special I really want to put out. But I also, like, it's just like, I almost feel like I got trapped by the name. Because it's Life Right Now. And then whenever I do it, like, it's...
People think it's about that moment.
And I kind of, then I feel like, because the whole, so Life Right Now idea was, I was in this weird stage where I was not doing my material anymore. Like, I just stopped doing my jokes. I used to just go on stage and fuck around.
Yeah.
And riff and talk and just not do jokes. Basically, and I was very annoyed with myself because the whole point is to do the jokes, right? Like, so then I was telling Chirayu this guy, I feel very guilty and all that. So he's like, dude, fuck it, dude. Like, this is you finally understanding how to do what you do. You know what I mean? Like, this is the job, right? Like, now that Bill Hicks quote makes sense, na? Ki your act should be your last resort or whatever, safety net. And that now suddenly makes sense. Like, I genuinely want to get to that stage where if I were on stage just for an hour and just being myself, I think that should be it.
Yeah.
So that sort of invariably, because I go on tour and because you're on tour, you want to make it a banger show, that invariably becomes an hour, like, you know what I mean? It has a name. It becomes a set things. But now chiller jokes came out of that, which is an hour of crowd work. So it's not even, honestly, it's not crowd work. It's like, I'll talk to them for a bit, but it's mostly just me riffing from the top of my head about random shit that I remember. And it destroys, dude. It's amazing how it is. And it's 6 log mein kill karta hai wo show.
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know, it's like, it's always like a forward motion, momentum thing where you're just trying to get to a point. Like but to answer that earlier, like, you know what I mean? Better hone ka, joke kitna better ho sakta hai. Joke ka baat hi nahi hai. It's about you, right? Like, it's the person you are. Like, so I completely stopped measuring achievements through stand-up.
Okay.
Because it's just a waste and it's depressing and it's never enough. Like, so now the only real measure is, am I becoming a better person? That is the attempt. Like, am I becoming a more whole person more than... I mean, now I'm 28, I don't know how much more I have to change, but like, it's gonna get harder as I grow older. So while I can, I'm going to try and drastically change as many things about myself as I can. And then stand-up is just this thing that I love doing, which I do all the time. Which is why I also made the album. It's like...
Yeah.
How was that like?
Tiring.
But enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's
you were always into music, no?
I was originally a musician, but I love the process, no doubt. But it was mostly just me kind of sitting for the ride, almost, because it was my first time in the studio. It was a very makeshift studio. It was my friend's house, and Shashwat was producing it, and his house, and he sort of just took me for the ride. He just sort of went, relax, just fucking sing the songs and tell me if this sounds good, tell me if this sounds good. So I loved the experience, and I came out of it thinking, okay, I need to make 2 or 3 more albums. Because I have things to say and I've kind of understood how to say them. But I feel like the next one will be even more fun because I'll actually know what I'm doing to some extent. And I'll be like, okay, I'm so much, these songs were written with no intention of them being recorded. So when you're arranging something that had no intention, ki arrangement ho gayi, so it's a very different approach to writing it also. Now when I'm, the second album is more old songs but also new songs. So the old songs are kind of turning into what stand-up is now, where it's actually a form of expression to talk about the things that I'm feeling as it's happening. Because the old album is more like these feelings that are set in stone, But this one feels a lot more dynamic and a lot more better. So I genuinely, I don't know if it makes sense, but I genuinely feel it makes me a better person when I pursue it diligently. Just adds a layer to who I am as a person. So that's really the approach now, dude.
Well, from what I'm getting is with you are just, I don't know, this creator, okay? You're making all these stuff. You're making 8 hours of material. Is not a joke. How many comics are there who...
All jokes though.
Yeah, but it's not... You know what I'm saying? How many comics do you know who have...
Either 8 minutes लिखने को इतना मुश्किल होता है.
Yeah, and then even with the music, it's you constantly have this stream of expression that is constant, and it's not it's trash. You're good at all of it. The music is also pretty good. I listen to it. It's not my style, but it sounds clean and it sounds nice.
You all still have favorite genres.
No, it's not. No, I mean, right now, do genres even exist?
Yeah, I don't think they.
No, now the TikTok music is it's all there is.
Yeah.
No, but it's I don't listen to music like that.
Yeah, but no, I mean, again, that's the thing now. It's the most you can do is the most you can do. Do the most you can do and then just chill. And honestly, I don't know, man. I waste a lot of time, dude. I know I put out a lot of I'm doing a lot, but I'm also a lot of my days just playing video games and shit, dude.
What are you playing right now?
I'm playing this city simulator / survival / fucking, I don't know what to call it. It's called RimWorld.
Okay.
Not to be confused with the porn website. It's a simulation. So it's a very fucked. So basically, you are controlling 3-4 pawns or people, whatever, and they are colonists. They're part of your colony, and you crash land on the planet. Is one of the major scenarios.
And you have to build your own civilization.
You build your own civilization and you fuck off from the planet. But on the way, you can grow drugs, you can do organ harvesting.
Wow. Sounds like a fun game, man.
You can have slaves. You can be like, fuck leaving the planet. I'm just gonna take over this motherfucker. And you can become a king and start a kingdom. And these are just some of the fun. I mean, from animal herding to
some of the fun. I want 5 slaves. Get cancelled, dude.
But I mean, in the sense, it's just it's just an interesting. It's a very well balanced game. There's a lot of different things to unpack, and it's really it's beyond a point you're really questioning your own morals, right? As you play.
Yeah.
And the game throws a lot of very interesting things at you because there's an AI storyteller, so they're sort of telling a story, and each planet is unique from the last. Each biome is different. It's horribly detailed. तू cappuccino भी बना सकता है, पर उसके लिए पहले तेरे को दूध acquire करना पड़ेगा, coffee उगाना पड़ेगा और machine बना. So it's and you have to research the machine also, and for all you know, the fucking sugar also. So it's a whole, and it's one of those 20,000 hours you give to the game wala games.
It's just challenging your morals reminds me of the time I used to play this game called Zoo Tycoon.
Oh fucking yeah, man.
And I just once. After one point, you're like, मैं कितना zoo बनाऊँ? So then I was like, I used to start putting the zookeeper in with the lions. Just saying him ravage that guy to death.
Or just delete the fence and have the lion.
Lion go around.
I never did those things. I could never. I used to feel really bad. My brother would make a city in Sim City, and then he'd just fucking natural disaster the fuck out of it sometimes.
Yeah.
But I was always one of the more
conscious.
Yeah, that's when I want violence, I watch F1.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting though. People have that moral thing while playing video games also. I saw this meme where it's like it says, "Oh, video games cause violence," and then it says, "Me on the other hand, who's scared of saying the rude thing in the cutscene."
Yeah.
Like in those games where you get to select the dialogue.
Yeah. But that's what happens, dude. Like I play Fallout and I don't want to be mean to the guy.
Yeah.
And sometimes you die because of it, dude.
Yeah.
I remember I used to play GTA Vice City at home. My dad would just be chilling in the background, like reading the newspaper or whatever. And then every time he'd like walk by, see the thing, he'd be like, "Why are you driving like this? There's a signal. Follow the signal." Like, fucking, this game is about killing fucking people. And
But that's what it's about, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. All of I've played a lot of games growing up, though. I like games where you can be alone and you're just in your little shell.
Yeah.
And it's the best because I'll usually, if I'm playing 6 hours a day, like 3 of those hours I'm listening to sets or something. So like subconsciously your brain is just like kind of, it's like that cow redigesting the food types.
Yeah.
That keeps going on.
That's how I justify like playing video games. I'll have like a educational podcast on the side while I'm playing it, so that I don't feel like absolute trash for wasting like 6 hours.
And it's weird, right? Like how easy it is to feel like trash nowadays. Like थोड़ा भी कुछ कर दो तो बुरा ही लगता है यार.
It's a natural state.
Yeah, no.
It's become like, oh.
So you're like scrolling reels and suddenly his beer biceps comes at you. He's like you're holding some shit. He's like
Beer biceps. I don't know, man. I can't get on with beer biceps.
So,
Yes.
this is a podcaster thing to do, to shit on beer biceps.
ऐसा है?
Yeah.
सब लोग हकते beer biceps
Yeah.
पे.
I don't know. Do they?
but
Even
he-
we don't really shit on him that much.
See, he's like figured out his scene. Like he knows this works and he's making fucking crores.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, this is my thing.
Yeah. I mean, we live in a time when nobody fact checks anyone anymore.
Yeah.
So now it's clear.
His older videos, like there's a lot of shit that makes no sense. And he's saying like where he's talking about skincare and like even like fitness, and like a lot of it is factually wrong.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So now,
But that's a lot of them.
yeah.
We live in a time where nobody gives a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
That's why they call it a post-truth world, right?
Yeah.
You can compare two people's truths like as if.
Yeah. But the thing with him is he has access to such like interesting people.
Yeah.
And he gets them on, and then I see the thumbnail, I'm like, fuck, this is interesting. But then I can't get through it because उसमें कुछ गलत ही नहीं है ना. You're not seeing any flaws in that person.
Maybe it's that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like everything about me is correct. I'm this person, and then I'm like, I don't relate to this. Like,
Yeah, I get you.
yeah,
I can't do it. I used to get very depressed when I saw his face in the lockdown.
yeah,
He was telling me to do things. And I'm like, इधर यार I'm stand-up comedian है, dude. मैं क्या करूँ lockdown में? And this whole hustle mentality of like constantly like,
Grinding all the
yeah,
time.
grind करो. अरे क्या man, chill.
yeah.
Fuck grinding, get grinder.
But bro, you in like once you find that one thing, you grind anyway. Like
If you love it enough, you
yeah,
you're
you get
confident to
hyper
do it.
obsessed.
Yeah.
Like
It's
with this, I'm
stand-up.
yeah. That's with you. For me now, at every minute I'm thinking, हाँ इसका कौन सा reel बनाने का है? Which clip should I post? Which I don't know.
वो तो मैं थक ही गया हूँ. मैं reel तो मेरा दिमाग ही नहीं कर पाता है. Now I'm trying to hire an editor who will do it for me. Because my brain can't do it. I don't know. How do I tell you which 15 seconds?
Yeah.
Whatever, 1 minute now. Sorry, 1 minute, guys. I deeply apologize to the Instagram gods.
All the 16-year-old influencers who shake their ass on these songs are judging you.
अरे यार वो it's a culture. I mean, and life right now has a lot to do with this only. Like I'm just so tired of it. The whole culture is really it's fucking toxic. Word is only toxic, but like it's degrading. Like we know the science proves that Instagram gives you depression. Okay, so like please. Let's not, like, who are we kidding, dude? What is this fucking, oh no, love yourself. Love yourself, Bancho. You're telling me to love myself. Do you know me, motherfucker? It's really hard to be me some days.
Yeah.
So I think, and the thing is, everyone's glossing over the sad parts. So instead of just fucking acknowledging the sad shit at all,
You know, you want to turn it into condense it into a post or some shit. Fucking live the grief, no, sometimes. And when people live the grief, it's like turns into this negative feedback loop of I'm gonna fucking whine about my life online, and that's where I'm gonna get the validation from.
Yeah.
You know, and then you forget that middle step where you actually work on your life after you put the phone away. And that's the fucking problem I have with it.
Yeah. Even with motivation content, people get addicted to motivational content, but not the stuff that it's telling them to do.
Not the
Because most
motivation.
of the stuff, like if you watch a lot of videos, like it makes sense. Ki, oh, get up early in the morning. Yeah, do that.
Yeah, do it, no?
Do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I try not to motivate people.
Yeah. It's not.
Yeah, you do your thing, man.
दिल से आ रहा है क्या तो कर.
But then that does so much more because I sit at home and watch that. I watch you perform.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're talking about, I don't know, eating ass or whatever. But like, I'll see that and I'll be like, man, this guy has worked on this. This has made me laugh. There's people in that crowd who are enjoying his work. Like, that motivates me.
Yeah, but I think it's the most you can do. I feel like on some level, it's also nice to have a good support system around you. Because like, I'm genuinely like the biggest fan of everybody I know and I'm friends with. So like that way I can motivate anybody, because like sometimes you do need reminding that you're a decent person. Like you're a decent person. I don't know you. I'm not sure, but statistically speaking, you know, you're most likely a pretty decent person, dude. Don't stress out. And the math is on your side.
That's one of the things that like when we'll wrap after this.
Yeah.
When people are talking about someone, like this girl has met a guy and she's like, oh, he's sweet. I'm like, yeah, 99% of the people are sweet.
Yeah.
Like that is not something that differentiates them from.
No, it's just the added layer of being attracted to someone makes it go from general sweet to relationship sweet.
Yeah.
Fucking
Be sweet to me.
So
So
you've seen like people in love, dude. They'll let anything go, dude. Like, they'll fucking,
I know.
रेड फ्लैग्स कितने छूटते हैं यार, ऐसे थोड़ी छूटते हैं.
पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस.
हाँ तो मैं कह रहा तुम रोज टिंटेड ग्लासेस पहनो फिर बोलो यार ये तो येलो कलर का झंडा है, भैंचो नहीं हो येलो, उतार चश्मे, हमारी कलर है वो.
Okay, chalo. With that, you have to get to the show.
Yeah, man. Are you guys coming to the show?
I don't know.
Okay.
You're doing it in Kothurud, bro. We don't
We were thinking, should we just shit on Kothurud?
We don't talk about Kothurud. And
Okay.
no, I'm kidding. Anyway, thank you so much for doing this.
Not at all, man. My pleasure. Thank you for having me. It was quite the
You can find Aakash on Instagram.
Yeah.
His handle is Kuch Bhi Mehta.
Put down
YouTube.
Put it.
There's hours of content. And if he's touring in your show,
In your city?
In your city.
in our city, go
Yeah,
watch
guys,
him.
we're doing
in a show, then you can go
we're
to
doing
a city.
we're doing 21, 24 cities. Okay, so
Yeah, so he's probably touring in your city.
unless you're like from Siliguri, which I'm trying, but I can't find a decent venue until then.
Siliguri sounds so nice though.
Yeah, I fucking can't even get this coconut water open, and they expect me to pay tax every year. Like, I feel like it's not fair. Fucking how can I possibly be a tax hazard? Okay, ho gaya. I will now be hydrated by this wonderful product that is
They are not sponsored.
that have not sponsored this podcast.
They should now. We should make this into a segment and ask Aakash to like upload it. Maybe
Paper
they'll
boat
reach out.
now in plastic. चलो, thanks guys, see you.
Thank you.
अभी इधर से कितना दूर है मेरे को देखना.
20